Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to News Dose. And well, we got another busy episode ahead of us today as Nintendo Indie World took place today. And here they did reveal, talk about, or update 19 new Nintendo Switch games. Yeah, overall, it's just been a really good week for independent games. We also had the Xbox Indie event yesterday, and if you did miss that, go check out my video from yesterday as I did do a roundup for everything that was announced over at that event. It was extremely long. But today we're going to focus on that Nintendo Indie World event, and there was actually some really good-looking games here that I am personally very excited about, including a big surprise. Now also, it looks like a big PlayStation 5 exclusive might have leaked out online, and this one could end up being really big. Now all of this is still rumor for the time being, but we will go over all of that as well. With that said, we have plenty of things to talk about, so let's just go and get right into it, starting off with Typhoon Studios. Now, Typhoon Studios is the developer behind Journey to the Savage Planet. I did review this game last year, and I personally really enjoyed it. I thought it was a good 3D Metroidvania style of game. It has a good sense of humor, and I just liked exploring the world in general. And for this game to be the studio's first game, it is ambitious, and you can definitely see the potential, not just with this game and franchise, but actually with the studio itself. They already made one good game, and I imagine they have a lot more in store from where that came from. And well, I guess Google thought the same thing because they did end up acquiring Typhoon Studios, and that ended up being a very unfortunate acquisition because, as we all know, Google ended up shutting down their internal first-party Stadia studios. It was just absolutely ridiculous that they acquired this studio, and then not even a year later, they shut it down. It was just absolutely absurd. But the good news here is that Typhoon Studios is actually back now as they reformed their studio under a new name being Raccoon Logic. It gets even better than that though, because Raccoon Logic also reacquired the rights to Savage Planet. So there you have it. Not only is Typhoon Studios back, but they also have their original IP. And on top of that, they did actually get a big investment from Tencent, which is going to enable them to just get the ball rolling on their next game. I think that's an overall smart decision, especially for a small studio like this. And, you know, it's just a good, feel-good story. It was just ridiculous what Google did to them, and I'm really glad to see them have a chance to make a comeback here. Now, one of the most highly anticipated games coming to the Nintendo Switch would be Pokemon Legends Arceus. This game is being developed by Game Freak, and it looks quite a bit different than what we're used to seeing from the Pokemon franchise. A lot of fans are really excited about this one, and, well, rightfully so. Fans have been dreaming of a big, just fully open-world Pokemon game for just such a long time, and Pokemon Legends Arceus does seem to be going down that direction. And they are saying that this game will release early in 2022, and that's kind of the thing. We haven't really seen a big update for this game since that initial trailer dropped, which did have some technical issues. Fans are definitely concerned with that, and they want to see another trailer that, you know, fixes up some of those frame rate issues. So now the question is when are we going to get an update for this game? Well, VentureBeat did get an interview with JC Smith, the Pokemon Company International Senior Director of Consumer Marketing, and they did ask him, when do you think we'll hear more about this game? And well, Smith's response was definitely interesting because, yeah, let's just go and check this one out. That one, we have a robust rollout, but not a lot that I can share at this time. But the team has a lot of great things to share, and you'll be hearing from us soon. And yeah, it's that last word, quote-unquote soon, that everybody is just so focused on. It does sound like we might be hearing about this game, you know, quote-unquote sooner rather than later. And I think that it's actually possible that we might hear about this maybe even just the next couple of months. There has been a big rumor that a Nintendo Direct will take place in September, so maybe there. And for that matter, I mean, we haven't really gotten an update for Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl either. That game will be releasing this holiday, so based off what we're hearing here from Smith, I do imagine that we will get an update for really both of these games before Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl actually releases. Or at least, hopefully, that's the case. Moving on, we need to talk about PlayStation. PlayStation has been a little bit silent here recently, or really for the last couple of years. They've been very silent and we haven't really heard much from them, but it sounds like they might have a pretty major game in development. Yeah, this one could be absolutely huge because according to Diller Gaming, which is a very interesting source, and I'll kind of get back to that here in just a moment, but according to Diller Gaming, he has heard that Sony has made a deal with From Software, the studio behind games like Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Demon Souls, and yeah, this is from the creators of the Souls-like genre. He has heard that they are making yet another exclusive title for PlayStation. Now, apparently this won't be a Bloodborne sequel or anything like that, but it will be another Souls-like game. Now, we have seen PlayStation do this with both the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4. On the PlayStation 3, they partnered up with From Software to do Demon Souls. Then on the PlayStation 4, they did Bloodborne. So it's pretty well known that they do have a good relationship with one another. And yeah, I could see them work together once again. Now, I would have been personally really happy with just a Bloodborne remaster, which is also rumored to be in development. But this really could be huge if this is actually true, because there's a lot of just very rabid fans over the Souls franchise. I love the Dark Souls and Demon Souls and Bloodborne games myself. I personally think Bloodborne is one of the best PlayStation 4 exclusives to date. In fact, I think it's one of the best PlayStation 4 titles, period. So yeah, I really do like the Souls-like games. As I said before, though, this is coming from Diller Gaming, which talked about it on his Real Deal Xbox podcast, and that's kind of one of the reasons that this leak here is interesting. Diller Gaming is kind of known for his affiliation with the Xbox brand, so there's not really much of a reason for him to just make something like this up. And in fact, he has leaked out plenty of information in the past that has proven to be correct. Leading up to the Xbox Series, he did leak out some of the specs before they were officially announced. And then here recently, on the PlayStation side of things, he did leak out Ghost of Tsushima's Ikishima DLC. So he does have a pretty good track record, and not just with the Xbox side of things, but with PlayStation as well. Now, this rumor was also corroborated by Nick from Xbox Era. So you actually have two different well-known insiders talk about this specific leak, that yes, PlayStation might have struck a deal with From Software to work on yet another PlayStation exclusive. Now, we'll have to kind of wait and see if all this actually happens. For the time being, just kind of take this with a grain of salt until proven true. As of this moment, the one thing that we do know for an absolute fact is that From Software is currently working on Elden Ring, which will release early in 2022. So right now, that's the game that I'm currently going to focus on. But if they really are working with PlayStation once again, Demon Souls and Bloodborne was absolutely amazing. So yeah, I would welcome a third game on top of that. Let me know what you think about this rumor in the comments below, though. Would you be excited for another PlayStation From Software partnership? Let's go ahead and take a look at that Nintendo Indie World Showcase, though. Like I said before, it's been a really good week for independent games. Xbox yesterday had their big indie event, and now Nintendo today just revealed 19 new games as well. And several of these are looking really good. Now, I'm not going to talk about every single game that was featured at this event, but we will focus on some of the games that really grabbed my attention. But just as a quick look, we can actually go and take a look at all 19 games that was talked about at the Nintendo Indie World. So you can see here you have Bombrush, Cyberfunk, Tomefall, Loop Hero, Far Changing Tides, Necro Barista Final Pour, Garden Story, Boyfriend Dungeon, Axiom Verge 2, which was a big surprise. You have Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon, Islanders Console Edition, Metal Slug Tactics, Tetris Effect, Astroneer, 100 Days Winemaker Sim, Slime Rancher, Lumberjack, Curious Expedition 2, Gang Beast, and then Eastward. So yeah, there was a lot of games that was talked about at this event, and it was all compiled into about a 20-minute event. I thought Nintendo did a really good job with this event, but let's just go and take a look at some of the games that really stood out here. And the first of which would be Bombrush Cyberfunk. Now, we have talked about this game on this channel before because this game is a bit of a spiritual successor to Jet Set Radio. Yeah, I know right away you Sega fans out there are really going to perk your ears up on that one, because I know you all have been asking for a new Jet Set Radio for just years and years. Well, Bombrush Cyberfunk might be about as close as we get for quite a while, and this one was revealed last year, and it even has the original composer that composed the music of course, Jet Set Radio. So that's why you're very clearly seeing some Jet Set Radio vibes when it comes to this game. It is a bit of a spiritual successor. Now, like I said before, though, we have talked about this game on the channel in the past because it was announced last year for Steam. I have been keeping an eye on this one for a little while now, and it was really good to see this one pop up here at this Nintendo event, and they did reveal it as a timed console exclusive that will be releasing in 2022. Now, the good news for you Xbox and PlayStation fans out there is they did announce this as a timed exclusive, so this very possibly could come to other consoles in the future. For the time being, though, Bombrush Cyberfunk is looking really good, especially if you like Jet Set Radio. Now, the big surprise at this event, though, was Axiom Verge 2. Now, of course, we've known about Axiom Verge 2 for quite a while, and we even talked about this game last week as they did reveal a new trailer. But interestingly enough, Axiom Verge 2 not only popped up at this Indie World event, but it's launching onto the Nintendo eShop today. Yeah, that's right. Axiom Verge 2 is available on your Nintendo Switch today. Personally, that immediately made this event worth it for me. I've been looking forward to this game for such a long time. I think the first Axiom Verge is one of the best Metroidvania games available to date. It's very similar to the Metroid franchise, but with its own unique flair, and it really just does a phenomenal job, especially if you like the 2D Metroid franchise. I guess it's just a really good year for Metroid fans in general, but yeah, if you do like Metroidvania style games, I would highly recommend checking out the first Axiom Verge, and hopefully Axiom Verge 2 is just as good, if not even better. Now, we did get some further information for Axiom Verge 2 after the event. As of this moment, this game will only be available for the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, and the Epic Game Store. But the developer did confirm that it would later on come to the PlayStation 5 and Xbox as well. So do keep that in mind. And also, there will be a physical release for Axiom Verge 1 and 2 through limited run games. The pre-orders for that will go live on October 1st. So a lot of good things are happening for this game right now, and like I said before, I'm just so happy that Axiom Verge 2 is finally available. Now, another surprise game that appeared here would actually be Tetris Effect. Now, Tetris Effect is an interesting game because, there's a lot of different Tetris games out there, but this very possibly is the best Tetris game to date. I kid you not. The day that I got the Xbox Series X, the first game that I downloaded and played was Tetris Effect. And I sat there and played that game for hours and hours and hours. It is just a phenomenal experience, and how the blocks and the backgrounds, they intertwine with the music and the rhythm. It feels fantastic to play. So while this may just look like a Tetris game, it really is more than just that. It's just a fantastic experience. And the cool thing is that they did announce a release date for the Nintendo Switch version, and that will be on October 8th. So don't sleep on this game. It really is a great overall experience. We also got an update on Chucklefish's next beautiful game, and that would be Eastward. Now, if you don't know Chucklefish, they've worked on some of the best independent games to date, including Stardew Valley. They've worked on Wargroove, Time Spinner, Risk of Rain, Starmancer, and they really do an excellent job with independent games, and Eastward looks to continue that trend. When I saw this game today, I was kind of blown away by the visual art style of it. This is one of the most striking, modern, retro-style games that we've seen. This does appear to be a story-driven game, and the world is just so interesting. They do explain this as a charming adventure game where you escape the clutches of a sand-filled subterranean society and join Eastward's unlikely duo on an exciting adventure to the land above. So I think right away, both the story and the world of Eastward just sounds really interesting, and I just love the art style in this game. Now, we also got a couple updates for some highly anticipated independent games, including Far Changing Tides, which will release early in 2022. Far Lone Cells was a good puzzle platformer, and it was kind of a meditative experience, and it does look like Changing Tides is going to be just like that, but I honestly think this one looks even better. Seems like this one's a little bit more ambitious, and I'm glad to see it will release early in 2022. And then we also got a Metal Slug Tactics gameplay update, and I think if you like these RPG tactics type of games, then you're probably going to be pretty happy with the gameplay update that they showed today. The art style is looking really good, and just overall the gameplay, I like what we saw here. With that said, they're not being too specific with the release date, but they did say it will release sometime in 2022. Overall, though, when I look at this Nintendo Indie World event, I think that they did a pretty good job. I think that they did a good job managing the time of this event, which is important. We'll kind of get into that here in just a second. And there was plenty of good-looking games here as well. There's also several games that's releasing into the Nintendo eShop today, including Necro Barista Final Pour, Garden Story, Boyfriend Dungeon, Islanders Console Edition, Slime Rancher Portable Edition, and also Curious Expedition 2. So not only do you have games to look forward to in the future, but you actually have plenty of games that you can check out right now, including, like I said before, Axiom Verge 2. Definitely, if you like Metroidvanias, check that one out. Let's go ahead and take a look at the poll of the day, though, as I asked you all, what letter grade would you give the Xbox Indie Showcase on August 10th of 2021? And while the majority of you all did seem to really like this one, with 46% of you giving it a B, while 21% gave it a C, and 20% gave it an A. Now, I kind of agree with this, and I kind of don't, and I'm going to explain why. This actually is something that a few of you did note in the comments below. I think from the game's perspective, yeah, I'd probably give it a B or maybe even an A. I think pretty much everything that they revealed at the Xbox Indie Showcase, for the most part, was actually pretty interesting. I thought that they did an excellent job showcasing the games. But in terms of an event, this is where I'm going to really have to knock it. They really need to cut down on the time of these events. This event was 2 hours long. Now, that's kind of an improvement over the last indie event, which was 3 hours long, but this is still too long for what they have to show. Here we have the Nintendo event today, which showed more games, and it was 20 minutes long, so you're kind of seeing quite the contrast between the two. Now, I'm all for giving these independent studios a voice and letting them talk about their games, but you need to cut down on some of that because you're losing viewership. Not a lot of people are going to tune in for these 2 hour long events, and in fact, you kind of see a drop off in viewership over time if you look at these events closely. So that's where they really need to improve with these events. But like I said before, in terms of games, I think it was excellent. It's just the structure of these events that need work. So I'm kind of split on the grade I want to give it. A part of me wants to give it an A for the games, and then a part of me wants to give it like a C or a D for, you know, just how they had the event laid out. So I'm just going to kind of meet in the middle here, and I'll give it a C+ this time. But once again, I really did love what I saw in terms of games. There's just so many games from that event that I am personally really excited for. Anyways, though, that's it for this episode. But if you liked the video, don't forget to bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you'd like to support the channel through Patreon, thank you for making this content possible. Peace out.